Please join me in prayer. As we know together that there is only one thing going on, one event, and that is Spirit pouring itself into this world, pouring itself through all of life and through each one here. I know that the same Spirit dwells in me that dwells in you, and that is how we're able to relate to one another. We share the one life. We live in a unified spirit. In God we live, move, and have our being. And on the earthly plane, in us, God lives, moves, and has its being as well. So I give thanks for that. I give thanks for that understanding, because I know that all the qualities of Spirit are available to us at all times, right here, right now. All the love, the peace, the beauty, and the joy, and the wisdom of Spirit is fully available to us and through us. So we open our hearts and our minds and let that divine outpouring flow into us and then flow out from us into our world. And I know that this gathering this morning is an outflowing of Spirit and an inflowing of Spirit. So with open hearts, with open minds, we give ourselves completely to this time, this gathering, knowing that we are filled with the Spirit of God. We are buoyed by the Spirit. We are given exactly that wisdom that we came here for, and we share that which we came here to share. So knowing that our time together unfolds perfectly, powerfully, joyfully, and lovingly, I release my prayer, knowing that it is already so. And together we say, so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Chris. Opening with such a beautiful prayer. Good morning and welcome. If you are new with us here online this morning, my name is Reverend Diana Johnson, and we are going to begin our Taizé journey this morning by joining our voices in musical prayer.
Welcome home to your mystic heart. Lay aside whatever came before. Let your own intuition start to guide you to heaven's door. Welcome home through your mystic heart. Lay aside whatever came before. Let your own intuition start to guide you to heaven's door. To guide you to heaven's door. To guide you to heaven's door. Make me an instrument, Lord, of thy peace, as I let go, as I release. Make me an instrument, humble and free, as I awaken the living Christ in I give love, love I receive. Make me an instrument, humble and free. As I awaken the living Christ in me. As I awaken the living Christ in me. Make me an instrument, Lord, of thy peace. As I let go, as I release, make me an instrument, humble and free. As I awaken the living Christ in me. As I awaken the living Christ in me. Make me an instrument, Lord, of thy peace. As I give love, love I receive. Make me an instrument, humble and free. As I awaken the living Christ in me. As I awaken the living Christ in me.
Make me an instrument of thy peace. Breathing that in all of its depth. And letting it go, allowing the peace that dwells within to move into the space around us. Claiming this as the truth for each one of us. I am an instrument of peace. Breathing that in. I am an instrument of peace. Peace in my family. Peace in my neighborhood. In my community. Peace in the world. Take a moment now to sense the body relaxing, the mind slowing, the emotions calming, the spirit grounding. It serves the highest good of all when each of us walks as an instrument of peace. We are completely interconnected with all of life, and so our peace ripples out and touches everyone and everything. We take a moment now to strengthen awareness of our oneness with the global community. Envisioning and sensing a web of consciousness surrounding and infusing our planet. Feeling ourselves to be a point of radiant light in that web. Knowing that there is only one light and that every human is an expression of that same light. That every animal, every plant, rock, grain of sand, the elements, earth, air, fire, and water, all expressions of spirit, enlivened by the divine spark. Sensing my light enmeshed with all that is, I feel our connection. Because we are one in spirit, and because we have been given the capacity, it is ours to respect and care for one another, for all life forms, and for the amazing planet that sustains us. The world is ready for deep change. Ready for us to bring about deep change in ourselves, so that those changes might ripple out and have a positive impact on the whole. Sacred Mother is, in fact, going through some profound changes, with or without us. And in the process, showing us that the only thing we can count on is change. That maybe we might seek to become more accepting and comfortable with change. As we sit grounded in the peace that fills our hearts, our minds, and our bodies, we reflect on the many ways of being in the world, of interacting with our environments and relating to one another. We consider our own stance as we move through our lives. We take a moment to ask and listen, what are my assumptions about the way things work? In the science of mind and spirit philosophy, we're offered a particular lens through which we might consider our own ways of being. 4 human tendencies that are more or less prominent as we grow in spiritual awareness. Often we move in and out of these phases or stages. No right, no wrong, just what is. The first is victim consciousness. Taking a moment to consider, do I more often than not, or even just sometimes, see life as happening to me? Do I see myself as being at the mercy of external forces? Do I have a tendency to blame others and feel victimized by my circumstances? Again, no right, no wrong. Just what is. We refer to the second phase or stage as manifestor consciousness. Do I tend to see life as happening by me, by means of me? Understanding and truly believing that I shape my own experience of reality through my thoughts and actions. Do I like to take control of and responsibility for the circumstances in my life? No right, no wrong, just observing what is. The next evolutionary stage is channel consciousness. Do I see life as happening through me? Can I let go of the need to control circumstances and allow inspiration to flow through me and to guide me? No right, no wrong. Just what is. And finally, being consciousness. Do I see life as happening as me? Do I live in a state of unity, feeling no separation between myself and the universe? Do I live from a deep knowing that I am here for the pleasure and expression of Source? These are the 4 stages of human consciousness as defined by Reverend Michael Beckwith of Agape International. Each of us has all of these stages and their qualities and behaviors within us. Whether in thought, word, or action, we move back and forth from one to the other, depending on the circumstances and on our own physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual state at the time. As we grow in awareness and spiritual maturity, the tendency is to settle into victim consciousness less and less of the time. Instead, we might take matters into our own hands, or listen for inner guidance, or completely let go and let God. Four stages. The number 4 shows up as significant across the world's traditions, whether we're speaking of spiritual, psychological, or material realms. The symbolic meaning of the number 4 is almost universally tied to stability, structure, the natural order of life. This is seen in the natural world in the 4 elements, earth, air, fire, and water. The four cardinal directions: north, south, east, and west. And the four seasons. 4 signifies a completed cycle or totality, such as the 4 phases of the moon or the 4 corners of the earth. It represents order and discipline. In the Hindu tradition, there are 4 stages of consciousness: waking, dreaming, deep sleep, and pure consciousness or enlightenment. In Buddhism, there are 4 noble truths, which are suffering, the cause of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path to cessation. There are also 4 immeasurables, which are the virtues of equanimity, loving kindness, compassion, and sympathetic joy. The number 4 appears in modern psychology as the biological, the neurobiological, the cognitive, and the conscious functioning of the human brain or the mind. And it shows up again in Carl Jung's 4 functions of the human: thinking, feeling, sensing, and intuiting. The number 4 points to wholeness. As we walk this path that we have chosen, or the path that has chosen us, we must include and care for the 4 aspects of our humanity if we are to move toward integration and wholeness. 4 facets of one sacred being. It is important that we nurture our physical, our emotional, our mental, and our spiritual aspects, so that we might reveal our hidden wholeness. As each one of us takes an active role in our own transformation, so will the world be deeply changed for the better.
Evolution may be thought of as the generic upward spiraling tendency of life to become more complex, to express in more diverse ways, to adapt to its environment in new, more effective ways. The organism exhibits greater freedom and autonomy, and all of this is driven by an instinctive purposiveness, a divine urge to grow. Spiritual evolution has this generic quality. We have been evolving spiritually all along, long before we consciously committed to our spiritual path. That is what led us to this teaching and to this beloved community. But as we commit to our own spiritual growth, as we consciously seek it, evolution takes on a new quality. 20th century Christian mystic Ernest Holmes wrote that generic evolution has brought humans to a point of self-expression, and it can do no more for us until we consciously cooperate with it. As we accept responsibility for our own spiritual growth, as we invite the divine presence into our conscious awareness, our evolution is quickened. Our growth is accelerated. It is this surrender to the divine urge within us that moves us out of victim consciousness. We become co-creators of our life, and then beyond that, we let Spirit flow through us. We become an instrument of the divine on earth. And finally, we grow beyond duality. We become unique expressions of the great mystery itself. Our conscious cooperation with Spirit accelerates our growth in consciousness. Our inner self knows we're serious. As we share our 3 minutes of sacred silence this morning, let us contemplate our commitment to our spiritual growth. Let us consider in what areas of life might we still be experiencing victimhood, in which areas we are actively co-creating our life with Spirit, and where we are allowing the divine to flow through us and express as us. As we listen in the silence, let God guide you to your next yet to be. Divine Beloved, Great Spirit within me, thank you for this time of inspiration, this time of communion with you and with these beautiful and holy souls who worship here with me. May we always remember to listen for your still small voice. And may we have the courage and the willingness to heed your guidance. These 4 stages, to me, by me, through me, and as me, are not discrete. They are more of a sliding scale. We may have areas of life where we feel empowered as a co-creator, and others that seem completely out of our control. Don't judge yourself. Simply start where you are. Do what you can with whatever you have. As Reverend Diana resumes her Taizé meditation this morning, we allow her inspiration to nestle deep within us, to transform us, to evolve us, as we grow upward through the 4 levels of consciousness into full self-realization.
Throughout the month of February, we are contemplating what it means to undergo deep change, real transformation. Real and lasting change requires us to let go of what is no longer working, so that something new can take root. Deep change calls us to conscious and willing action. As a people, individually and collectively, we are being challenged to outgrow our victim tendencies, to take responsibility for our thoughts, words, and actions, past, present, and future. To look deeply at who we are, at who we've been, and at who we have come here to be. We are being stretched and grown by the rapid and dramatic changes happening in the world, and coming to see that we are the hands, feet, hearts, and voices of the divine on earth. We are coming to know that life doesn't just happen to us and through us, but it is happening as each one of us, right here and right now.
Children know, without knowing all the hows and whys, there's a wisdom in their eyes. The children see the world the way it ought to be. Do we realize? We are building their world, choosing the way. Decisions we are making here go far beyond today. Like ripples on the water, what we do goes on and on. That's the legacy we leave when we are gone. We are building their world with heart and dreams and stone, giving them our very best for the world they'll call their own. We are building their tomorrow, nothing greater could we give than a better place to grow and learn and live. Children have a wisdom, it's a wisdom of the heart. They know the way that home is supposed to feel. And children have a vision, it's in their simple art. Is there some way to make their pictures real?
Join me as we close in prayer. Ah, Great Spirit, Holy One, there is ever and always one thing happening. Life expressing as all of creation. The great mystery coming to know itself as all that is. What a blessing that I am and that each of us here is. One of the ways that Spirit is taking form. Perfectly, uniquely, and with absolute intention. What a privilege to be alive at such an exciting time. To be called into service as an agent for deep change. And how challenging to answer that call. Right here and now, I remember that I have all the qualities of Spirit within me. There's nothing more I need to have or to be. All given at birth. factory equipment. One by one, I allow each quality to be revealed in perfect timing as it is needed. As I move into my week, I remember that my thoughts, words, and actions matter. That I am helping to build their world. May I leave this world in one way or another just a little bit better than I found it. May I be constantly reminded that I am not a victim, that my experience of life is my responsibility, that I am not only a vessel for spirit to move through, but an expression of divine light, spirit living its life as me. I'm so grateful for this beautiful day and for every blessing that flows into and through my life. Thank you, Spirit, for this safe and loving space to be me, and for these beautiful beings who share this amazing life with me. The love and sense of family in this room is palpable, and I am so grateful. And so, immersed in the atmosphere of grace, I release my prayer now, trusting in the loving and lawful presence of Spirit to make it so. I have eyes to see everything that comes from this moment forward as answered prayer. And so I let it go fully and completely, calling it done. And so it is.
So it is.
Amen. Bringing our awareness back into the space. Maybe taking a peek. Some wandered in as we were in meditation. Good morning to everyone. So as we close our Taizé meditation this morning, we offer an opportunity for you to share of your financial good in support of the work that we're doing here in the community and out in the greater community. If you're joining us online, you can go to mysticheart.org and you'll find a donate button and a mailing address. And as we allow time for our sacred practice of circulation this morning, I offer a song, a video song by Gary Lynn Floyd. It's called Remember Who You Are.
Remember you are love at the heart of your being. Do you remember there is more to this life than what you're seeing? Let me remind you, you are beautiful by far. You've nothing left to prove when you remember who you are. If you ever forget, I will help you remember who you are and who you're here to be. Sometimes it's hard to make a way through the dark, but I will see for you and help you remember who you are. Do you remember there is peace in the middle of this storm? Do you remember you have all you need inside to keep you warm? Let me remind you, you're the dust from a star. Your essence is revealed when you remember who you are. If you ever forget, I will help you remember who you are and who you're here to be. Sometimes it's hard to make a way through the dark, but I will see for you and help you remember. You are stronger than you think you are, braver than you seem. The life that lies ahead of you is like nothing you have ever seen. If you ever forget, I will help you remember who you are and who you're here to be. Sometimes it's hard to make a way through the dark, but I will see for you and help you remember. If you ever forget, I will help you remember who you are and who you're here to be. Sometimes it's hard to make a way through the dark, but I will see for you and help you remember. Remember who you are. Remember who you are.
Now that was awesome.
So we say thank you for these gifts as they're given with love from your hearts, through your hands. Gifts of spirit that flow and are well received and appreciated in this community. So I say thank you, Spirit. Thank you for each one here. Thank you for every gift of every kind. And so it is.
So it is.
Amen. So I'm just going to remind you briefly to take a bulletin if you haven't. We're back on track after our move. Yay.
Yay.
And we do have tickets ready and for sale for both April and Miley's Ember of Wisdom, which is a cacao ceremony and so much more coming up the end of this month, and the spring tea that is happening on March 7th. It is going to be a Mad Hatter tea party this year, and being sponsored by Lucinda and Chris Netto and supported by myself. And Cherie. Thank you. I didn't know. So we do have tickets for both ready and on sale whenever you are ready for those. And we will bless you on your way to coffee, tea, or the rest of your day with a soul's blessing.
May your soul always find what it's looking for. May your heart always lead the way. May you live in peace and harmony. And may love always fill your day. May your path be strewn with happiness. May success find you everywhere. May you always embrace compassion and grace, and may God always answer your prayer. May you always embrace compassion and grace, and may God always answer your prayer.
God bless you. Have a beautiful Sunday. See you back at 10:30 maybe.
Thank you, Spirit, for this day,
Yes, absolutely.
for these beloved souls before me and all around me that support me on this journey, this thing called life, this highway called the spiritual path, or this path called the spiritual highway, depending on how fast you're going, I guess. I give thanks just for the presence of Spirit in this place. Coming through Reverend Diana's talk, coming through each person that partakes in the conversation, I know that it is all divine wisdom. It is all part of the one universal mind that we all share, and that is infused with divine wisdom, with divine consciousness, with love, peace, joy, beauty, and truth. And so knowing that our conscious conversation unfolds perfectly, powerfully, and joyfully, I just get out of the way and let it happen. And so it is.
So it is.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Here you are, sir. Didn't want it to tip over.
Well, good morning. Welcome back. Looks like welcome back, huh?
You do know what that is.
Thank you for being here this morning. If you're new with us here online this morning, my name is Reverend Diana Johnson, and I'm pastor and spiritual director for Mystic Heart Spiritual Center. We're an independent interfaith community that teaches universal principles and practical spirituality, tracing the common threads of truth that run throughout the world's great traditions. So it's my prayer that something you hear this morning is going to lead you back to the wisdom and the guidance that lives within your own mystic heart. So let's get our conversation started with a little bit of upbeat music, shall we? Musical prayer in dancing form. Oh, here, have an egg.
Welcome to the Mystic Heart. Join the celebration. Lift your voice and sing your part. Make this affirmation. Spirit made us family with loving hearts to share. Together we are joyfully practicing the possible through prayer.
And everything's possible through
So
prayer.
welcome to your Mystic Heart. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, 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 everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Hey, 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 yeah, yeah.
All right, let's do a little release and let go, shall we? And I let go, let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit
stride. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God.
Yeah. So gently let your eyes close if you're comfortable doing so. Envision with me a new version of life on Earth. A love-soaked world where all humans are living from their deepest wisdom, from their greatest generosity, their most loving nature, thoughtful of the impact of thoughts, words, and actions, and the impact that they have on other people, on the community, on the nation, on the world. A world without greed, where there's abundance in having enough, where nutritious and clean food, water, and air are readily available to all, no matter where you live, no matter the color of your skin or which family you were born into. Where warm, comfortable, and affordable housing is a given. Where all beings feel a sense of safety, belonging, and contribution. To these blessings we say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Ours is a world where mental, physical health and education and healthy relationships are ensured by social systems that are grounded in integrity, in honesty and wholeness.
Yes.
Where all beings work and play at whatever feeds their soul and are well compensated for their service. All beings are valued and respected for their inherent goodness. Authenticity and vulnerability are not only welcomed but celebrated. And the peace that we cultivate within ourselves shows up as a world free of violence, hatred, or indifference. The love that we are here to share is given freely to whomever our hearts are called to love. We have moved beyond all lines of separation and live as one human family, caring for one beautiful planet with the reverence that she deserves. To these blessings we say yes.
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 By the power of our collective intention, imagining, and inspired action, we have undergone an amazing transformation. We are living in a world that works for all beings. Giving no power to appearances, we live according to our highest aspirations. We do not lower our vision, no matter what the world may say or show us. Our deep faith tells us that all beings, all things being done on this earth today are being turned to good. And so it is. We walk in gratitude, respect, reverence, and humility, and we recognize the sacred in everyone and everything. There's a general sense of thriving on the planet. It is through our hands, feet, hearts, and voices that positive change is forever happening. We have aligned all of our actions with our vision, living these changes in our own lives with our families, our friends, our neighbors, communities, and other nations. To all of these blessings, we say yes.
Yes.
We recognize that transformation is an ongoing process. And in times of great change, people benefit from working and playing and simply being together. And so this community stands as an open and welcome space for all who seek support, belonging, and a sense of family. It redefines church as a place of self-discovery, authenticity, kindness, radical inclusion, and love. To these blessings, we say yes.
Yes.
By the power of the great mystery moving through each one of us, this prayer is acted upon, answered even as it is spoken. I trust in divine presence, timing, and process to make it so. And so it is with the deepest humility and gratitude that I release my word to the one who gets it done, and so it is. Amen. Yes.
As I was saying that, I realized
Yes.
that there was a time when I wasn't that way, but now I am. So here's one of the changes in the world.
There you go. One of the changes in the world right before us.
Right.
I would guess that in this room there are many
Yes.
of the changes that have happened
Absolutely.
in this world, right? And the change is just ongoing. It never stops. It never ends. This is what we come to understand at some point. Thank you for that. So let's see. If you were here this morning at Taizé, you would know, but if you weren't, I will tell you, that our topic of reflection has been the 4 stages of consciousness, as is presented by one teacher, Reverend Michael Beckwith. He is from the Agape International branch of the New Thought Teachings. And it fits in with February's theme, which is deep change, the journey of transformation that each one of us is undergoing right now. And as a society, we're also seeing evidence of deep change. So I'll give a brief bullet point summary of this morning's Taizé for those who were not here. Then I'll use that as the jumping off point, as I do each week. We started out by drawing attention to the many different ways that we can show up in the world as we interact with our environments and with each other. We were offered a particular lens through which we might consider our own ways of being, 4 ways of being and seeing that we hold and exhibit as we move through the stages of our own spiritual development. We used questions for contemplation as our vehicle. So I'm going to repeat briefly the questions that I asked us to consider in contemplation, and then we'll come back around to each one during the conversation. So this is just a bullet point. Do I more often than not, or even sometimes, see life as happening to me? We called this victim consciousness. That would be I'm at the mercy of all the external forces. I have a tendency to blame others, to feel victimized by my circumstances. The second one we talked about, do I tend to see life as happening by means of me? Truly believing that I shape my own experience of reality by my thoughts, words, and actions. Do I take control of and responsibility for the circumstances in my life? And we called that, again, this is just one model according to Reverend Michael Beckwith, called this a manifester consciousness. I need something in my life, I can focus on it, I can see it, know it, manifest it. We also stated as we went through, there's no right, no wrong, no good, no bad about any of this. This is all stuff that we all hold within us, and we all move back and forth through these stages, maybe minute by minute sometimes. Okay, so the next question was, next, do I see life as happening through me? Can I let go of the need to control circumstances and allow inspiration and guidance to guide me? And we called this channel consciousness. So spirit's moving through me. And finally, do I see life as happening as me? Do I live in a state of unity, feeling no separation between myself and the universe? Do I live from a deep knowing that I'm here for the pleasure and expression of Source? And we called this being consciousness. So again, these are just 4 stages defined by one teacher, but I think they offer us a nice vehicle for some conversation. He teaches that each of us has all of these stages and their qualities and behaviors within us. Whether in thought, word, or action, we move back and forth from one to the other, depending on our circumstances, depending on our own physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual state in the moment. And then as we grow in awareness and spiritual maturity, the tendency is for us to settle into victim consciousness less and less and less of the time. It seems to be a trend as people develop and do deep spiritual work. Instead, we might take matters into our own hands more often. We might go inward for internal guidance more often. We might even surrender, let go, and let God more often. Then we went to acknowledging the number 4, because there are these 4 ways of being that he talked about. We went to the number 4 and looked at its significance across world traditions, that whether we're speaking of spiritual traditions, psychological, or in the material realm of science and nature, that the symbolic meaning of 4 is almost universally pointing towards stability and structure and the natural order of life. Pointing to order, pointing to discipline. And then we gave examples from all kinds of different traditions. Finally, we said that as part of deep change happening on the planet, that we are being challenged to outgrow our victim tendencies, individually and collectively, to take responsibility for our thoughts, words, and actions, to look deeply at who we are, again, individually and collectively, at who we have been, things we have done, owning those individually and as a people, and who we have come here to be. So projecting ahead, who are we here to be? So there was more there, and if you're interested, it'll be online by this evening. But we're going to use that as our springboard. And I might talk a little more than normal today. I might not. But there's the possibility that that could happen. And that's okay for things to flow as they do. I do have questions. We will have conversation also. So most of you know that my early spiritual journey and my initial ministerial training was in the New Thought tradition. Okay? That was prior to my interfaith studies, which then expanded my credential to include interfaith ministry. That title, New Thought, is often understood, and since we are interfaith, I don't often even include that in what I'm presenting, but it is one of the paths that have influenced me a great deal. So once in a while I may bring it up, and today is one of those days. The title is often greatly misunderstood, New Thought. Who can tell me what is the New Thought tradition? When you hear that, what do you think of? What comes to mind?
Actual original Old Thought.
Okay, original Old Thought. Okay.
What I always got was that it was a new way of thinking, a new way of looking at things, realizing that we're all connected, that we're all one. I mean, that's what I learned was New Thought. Before that, I had no clue.
All right, a new way of thinking. I would say that if you look at it as an individual, as I change my thinking, my experience of the world changes, that kind of different way of thinking, then that would be accurate as to part of what it is.
Well, New Thought for me is going into a new religion, just total, learning knowledge and just learning the whole new religion.
Okay.
That's just, it changes your thought patterns, it changes the way you view things,
So adopting new practices, new ways of thinking, being. Okay, good. Lucinda?
I would go along with everyone else on the new ways of thinking as opposed to Christian thinking, I think, at one time. But I also have to confess that at one point, no more, but at one point, I mentally used the terms New Thought and New Age interchangeably.
Right. And they're not the same thing.
No.
They do get crossed, but they're not the same thing. Do you know the difference between New Thought and New Age?
New Thought tends to be more serious, it's more spiritual, it doesn't get us off into the things that Ernest Holmes would refer to as things that distract you. It's all about the spirituality. New Thought is all about the spirituality. New Age can get into things like clairvoyance and psychic, and not to put those down, but
No.
they can be distracting.
They're real
Yes,
forces and things at work.
but they can also distract you from working on your true spiritual nature.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you something, my understanding of the difference, because it's very simple, and it doesn't make anything right, wrong, or better, or worse. New Thought deals with the metaphysical teaching, any metaphysical teachings that point you inward to the spirit within expressing as you. New Age points to things in the world, whether they are physical aspects or mental aspects, which would be like a clairvoyance, or it would be astrology, or it would be crystals, or it would be any of those things, which all have their own, hold their own energies and have their own ways of being. But when we look to outer things, material or mental, to guide our journey, that's the distinction. New Thought doesn't look outside of the self at all. It doesn't deny that those things exist, or that they can be powerful, or that they are real, but it just doesn't focus on those things. It focuses on directly within, you got everything you need, no need for anything else. So that's the main difference. Yes?
To get back to the original meaning of New Thought is, New Thought believes that your mental thought habits are what create your life.
Okay.
And so you replace, if you don't like the way your life is going, you replace that thought
Right.
or that group of thoughts or that
Yeah.
habitual way of thinking with a new habitual way of thinking. That's what affirmative prayer does, is it changes you so that your belief system is more in tune with the life you want to live.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, the bumper stickers, change your thinking, change your
Right.
life. I think that's a little simplistic.
Yeah.
You have to change your whole way of being.
Right. Right. So New Thought is a philosophy. It's not seen as a religion. It's a philosophy that can support people of many traditions, or no particular traditions. It's based on universal principles, perennial philosophy, ancient wisdom, traditions. It's built on all of that. It's never been intended that we think of it as some new thing, like some new religion, because it's not. It's ancient, 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 and the founder of, say, Centers for Spiritual Living studied a wide range of the ancients to create this philosophy that is CSL right now. But as Chris said, if you hold a different thought or you create different thought patterns and habits, you're going to have a different experience of life. So who can name churches or traditions or spiritual centers that fall under the heading of New Thought? There aren't too many, actually.
I thought Paramahansa Yogananda. I don't know.
He's not considered
No.
New Thought.
Science of Minds,
Science of
Science
Mind
of
and
Mind.
Spirit. Uh-huh.
Unity.
Yes.
Unity.
Uh-huh. Anything else you're aware of?
Some Christian religions are changing. Oh, I'm sorry.
Lucinda?
Unitarian.
Okay, Unitarian is actually a more liberal form of Christianity,
Okay.
technically.
Divine science?
Divine science is technically considered New Thought.
Is Christian Science?
Not Christian Science, but Christian mysticism.
Okay.
Is Scientology?
No.
No.
No. Christian mysticism, and then the other would be esoteric mysticism. Those things all fall under the realm of New Thought. So because I used an example of the Agape branch of Science of Mind and Spirit in the Taizé, and because I'm really familiar with its teachings. I'm going to focus on that tradition to tease apart these 4 stages today of consciousness and have your help in doing that. Comparing them to the science of mind and spirit continuum. And it is a continuum more than just a set thing. And we're going to be looking at the levels of depth that can be found in that tradition. So several years ago I wrote a blog that introduced the subject, addressed it, and so I'm going to use some of that piece just to introduce where we're going. I started the blog by saying, I have noticed that there's often a lack of clarity in the minds of students about Holmes's teachings, that it's primarily a philosophy used for manifesting the things we wish to have and experience in our lives. And it can certainly be used that way. If I have need of some material thing or condition in my life, there's absolutely nothing wrong with using affirmative prayer to meet that need, positive thinking to change my experience. In fact, I might even be in a place that I'm incapable of moving beyond that level until I have those needs met. And so it can be a powerful tool. But there's much more to it than that. Anybody here ever thought of, when you hear New Thought, think of manifestor spirituality? Yeah, because it's commonly taught. Those are the levels that are commonly taught, right? If you walk into a center and you're new, often they'll be working at those levels. Anybody have any experience using these tools of science of mind and spirit or unity teachings or anything like that to manifest something? Yeah, I have, for sure. Very effective tools. Many folks don't know actually that it's actually the science of mind and spirit is the full name given by Ernest Holmes. It's called shortened to Science of Mind, which gives it a bum rap as far as I'm concerned, leaving the spirit part out. But its teachings are a continuum. They are multi-leveled, multifaceted philosophy and theology. And so it serves us better, whatever tradition we are looking at, it serves us better to have greater understanding of that tradition. No matter what tradition, again, you're looking at, there's always a wide spectrum or continuum of what that tradition holds. I often hear people generalizing around Christianity and saying, oh, well, the Christians do, they say, and that shouldn't be happening because there's such a wide range of Christians and Buddhists and Hindus and shaman and. So I'm going to throw it out there, if you're looking at a New Thought tradition, what do you think the beginner's level, because whatever you're studying, come to a new tradition, whatever you're studying, you're going to start at the beginning, right? Because you're just learning about something. You decide, I don't want to do this practice anymore, I'm going to go check this out. You're going to start at the beginning. So what would the beginning levels of a New Thought tradition look like?
Well, it depends, I guess, on what your previous beliefs were, but the first thing that came to mind was changing from the patriarch-based, there's a God, and, and you're punished if you don't do thus and thus and thus. I think that's probably the beginner's course would be what that transition is going to look like, that we are God compared to this being that's been,
All right, so that would be one of the first things you'd notice is God no longer lives in the sky.
Right.
Spirit, whatever name you give that, lives and shows up in the world, as everything, as everyone.
One of my first revelations at CSL was, wow, life is a do-it-to-myself kit.
Life is a do-it-to-myself kit. Look at that. That's definitely one of the first things I was presented with when I went in for counseling. Yes.
You know, it's kind of interesting. I kind of had a way of like how I viewed life a little bit differently the other day. I went out to my car and realized I was out of gas. I could have got all upset about it. I could have just been, but no, I decided to go take a beautiful walk down through Caldwell up to the gas station, had a really good time, grabbed some gas, walked right back through the wonderful scenery, went and filled up my gas. And, it didn't bother me. I wasn't upset about it. I'm like, well, obviously I needed this beautiful walk and scenery,
Mm-hmm.
and I was bound determined to get to the river, and then, and then I locked myself out of the house. And I just started laughing. I just thought it was just the funniest thing in the world. And I could have just, looked at it like, oh man, life is just happening. This is horrible. I'm just like, instead I just laughed at it. I just thought this is the funniest thing that's happening in my life right now.
So one of the beginning levels would be change the way you see
I
things. Change
looked
your
at it
thinking.
completely
Yeah.
different. I
Change
couldn't
the lens.
let it get to me that, that I was out of gas and that I locked myself out.
Yeah.
But I didn't let it get to me, I looked at there was a change. I handled the change really good, and I took it with strife and laughter and
That's
that's
awesome.
yeah. So that's a new way
Uh-huh.
of looking at it.
Nice. Thank you. Lucinda?
Beginning level, I manifested a parking space.
There we go. There you go.
I
Parking
can't tell
angel.
you how many times I've heard people talking about I manifested a parking space, and that's kind of as far as they went.
Yeah, well,
That's the
if you stop
manifestor.
there, whatever, but that's fine too.
Yeah, it
But
was all
yes.
about manifesting.
Yeah, so, and I came into it in that place. That's where I was. I was 27. I was in the pit of my life. I had created a real mess. I needed all kinds of help in every possible way, so I manifested like crazy. I got lots of parking spaces. That gave me the faith to then buy a raffle ticket and figure if it's meant to be mine, I only need one. And I won the thing. It was steps and stages. So the manifestor piece helps you build your faith in there's something at work here. There's something at work here. And I can use it for my good. And I can use it for the good of others. So that initial phase is really important.
I gotta stop saying that my manifestor is broken.
Oh, good idea.
Because, well, for instance, with my cat, I didn't know if I wanted a white cat, or if I wanted a tabby, and I ended up getting both. Like, he's white with tabby spots.
Right.
Well, like this morning, like I've been wanting a life jacket, and I've been liking the color blue lately. And a kayaking life jacket. And I'm on my way to church this morning, and there's a brand new life jacket laying on the street. I just put on my flashers and jumped out of the car and grabbed it and stuck it. You go, girl. But it wasn't as nice as the ones that I want, but it was like, wow.
It was free.
But way back when I lived down south and I was constantly in prayer and meditation, what I'm learning about myself is that I grounded myself through other people. And I have to learn how to ground myself through myself. And I still need to learn that. I'm having a really hard time doing that. But like, I literally manifested $5,000 unexpected income, no strings attached. Somebody just wrote me a check for $5,000. And another time I manifested $10,000. Somebody just wrote me a check for $10,000. I lived in a very wealthy community though, down there. So it's like, how can I fix my manifestor? I need help, guys.
It doesn't sound like it's broken.
No.
It doesn't sound to me like it.
If you tell the universe you want a white cat, no, maybe not. I want a tabby, well, maybe not.
You have to be
And
really
it
specific.
gives you both. That is the manifestor working. You gave it a confused message and it gave you a confused track.
Yeah, and I'm starting to realize how I've manifested certain things, like a certain house. And I read the story by Cahill Gibran, how Madame Rose Haney ended up finding out what true love was, and it wasn't through things,
Right.
but it was, she saw love pouring from this man's eyes.
Uh-huh.
And she ended up living in this poor hovel. Well, that's what I wanted, was to be in love, but it didn't show up the way I wanted it to. So it's like, now I gotta re-manifest somewhere else to live, because I do not want to live there, you know? So it's like, gosh. Anyway.
All right. Let's see, a little bit more and then we'll go to the
Think
next
about what
one.
I do
I
want.
manifested a place to live, and I got an opening, and now I'm living in a very clean, beautiful home with a really good roommate, and I just put that prayer out there. You know, I imagined what I wanted, what I needed, and I put it out there, and then within a day or two, it just happened.
Yeah. So, as I said, there's nothing wrong with using it that way at all. It's very beneficial. It's a tool for us to use in our lives. Go ahead.
Before I found Science of Minds, this was my first take of anything, I was in a place where I wanted to commit suicide. I didn't, and the only reason why I didn't is because I had 4 beautiful, wonderful children, and I knew that I would destroy their lives. And that's what kept me hanging on to my life.
Yeah.
And somebody said, hey, there's a new church going to be in town. It's really cool. It's about love. And I went to the first meeting, and I became a board member on that in that church, and it changed my whole freaking life.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to commit suicide again. But I mean, that manifests, because I said, I don't know what to do, God,
Right.
you're going to have to help me, because
Yeah.
I'm so done.
Yeah.
And then that's how the door opened for me.
Yeah, it's a great entryway in to learn how to use spiritual principle for your own good and the good of other people. It's powerful. Okay, and then I really am going to continue on.
I was just going to say that in my practitioner class, I was kind of denigrating the manifestor stage. You know, wanted to be beyond all that, and my teacher said, no, the whole idea of the manifestor stage is to give you the tools that you're going
Right.
to need and the support you're going to need to move on to
Right.
being a conduit for spirit.
Yeah, yeah. So at the very beginning of stepping into New Thought, I'm just going to bullet point this. We're going to be looking at our thought patterns and habits to see where they might be serving us and where they might be undermining us. We're going to begin to entertain the idea that we are the divine in form, that there's no sky god out there. We're going to be asked to take responsibility for our lives in full. We'll be told that whatever we choose to change, we have the power to change. And we're encouraged to look at our words as indicators or expressions of our thought patterns. So to start watching your own words and what words you tend to use. And then to change any language that indicates doubt or limitation or other negative mind habits. So it's going to be a very self-reflective, starting to listen to your own thoughts, words, and watching your actions. And that's where the primer level of affirmative prayer comes in, is helping you to change some of those things once you spot them. So at that stage, we learn about the creative process, how the power of spiritual law works, that we're creating our life circumstances and conditions by either, it's not just attraction, attracting, allowing, or promoting particular things, certain people and circumstances. And we begin to understand the beginning level of the law of attraction. We see it more as a law of radiation. We start to settle into, oh, what I'm putting out is what I get back. I attract to me. So we start to look at some of that. And so as we shift from what you could just look at as levels, even though it's not that clear cut. So if you come in at a beginner level and you're ready to shift to a deeper understanding, wait, I have a question that I skipped and I don't want to skip it, so back up a second. What are some of the outward signs you might see in someone who is living from that initial stage of spiritual development, whether it's in New Thought or any other tradition? What are some of the behaviors that what we're calling the victim consciousness might display, or that you yourself might be displaying if you're in that place? What does it look like to help us give a picture?
Jealous,
Okay, there might be jealousy.
worried about not being seen
Okay,
or acknowledged,
Mhm.
being left out.
okay,
Those are all victim.
all right, good.
Blame.
Blame, not my fault, man. Mm-mm, I didn't do it.
Can it be illness?
Can be illness. Mhm. Yeah,
We see the stuck in the loop thinking,
Uh-huh.
where this is happening to me because this always happens to me,
Right.
because this is just my life.
Right.
And all these people are always doing me wrong, and I'm a
Yeah.
great person with a good heart, so I don't understand why the world takes advantage of me, but I keep choosing the same broken people over, and they go round and round.
Yep.
I just had a very fresh experience with one I was stuck in training for a few days, and it was a loop of not just nonstop. And I was like, oh girl, oh, it must feel really hard to
Right.
be inside of your nervous system.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. Violet?
Cheryl was suggesting confidence.
Confidence? Okay, Cheryl, I would say that we're gonna move into more confidence in the next level. That in the very beginning levels, we're not often very confident in ourselves. We might cover it sometimes, actually, with an outward appearance, but we're not truly confident. One thing I notice is constant drama.
Oh,
Somebody in a victim state is in constant
Been
drama.
there.
The drama never ends. It's part of that loop you're
yes,
talking about.
absolutely.
I was gonna say with Cheryl, bravado.
Bravado, that's the cover for the lack of confidence that we might come in with. Barb?
I lost my thought.
I'm sorry. So you get the message. It's constant drama, it's blaming, it's poor me, it's not my fault, I can't help it. I have a need for control, gotta control it, but what my life looks like is I'm out of control.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's just the way I am.
it's just the way I am. Oh man, that one.
It's the way it's always been.
It's the way it's always been. Or I had this experience way back when, I was 7, I'm now 75, and oh my God, I just can't
Let it go.
let it go. And I'm saying this, but I've been there too. I've been in these places. That's where I was when I started my spiritual journey, absolutely. So, okay, victim consciousness, let's be over with that one. We shift out of that at some point, at least some of the time, and move into what we call the manifestor consciousness, which is things happen by means of me. By means of me. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does it look like?
We do have control over some parts, or some parts of parts
Okay,
of what's going on. We have to flap in order to glide.
right,
There's a balance that we want to find there, and especially moving from I can't do anything
right,
to I don't have to do anything.
yes. Yeah, yeah, there are some in-between steps there, right. Yeah, okay,
Moving from being passive to being active.
okay. Moving from being passive to being active, taking actual steps in a direction.
If I do this, God's gonna get me, kind of thing, and then you move into realizing that
Uh-huh.
God's never gonna get you.
Okay, so if I do this, God's gonna get me, where would you put that, in victim or?
Yes, victim.
Okay.
I mean,
All
in
right.
the past,
So
that
you're
would be-
shifting out of victim
Yes,
into.
into,
by
now I
means of-
realize that God's always been here. I didn't
Right.
think he was. I thought he forgot me and left
Yeah.
me out. And now I realize he never left me. And that gives me a lot of peace.
Uh-huh. Thank you. Lucinda?
You start to think about, yes, I could do this, yes, I could manifest this, but
Mm-hmm.
am I gonna use it? I'm thinking
Okay.
in terms of, I'm a techie, so there was a time when I wanted to have all the latest and greatest gadgets, and then they'd sit up on a shelf and I'd never use them. So you go from a point where I have to have this, and I'm desperate that I have to have this, and I know I can manifest it, so I do, to a point where I'm going, do I need that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, are there not more important things in life
Yeah,
than to have the latest and greatest anything?
right. Yeah, when you're in the material realm of getting the things, when it's things-based, you're in manifester. And there's nothing wrong with that. We need things, right? We need homes, we need cars, we need all the things. All the things.
Ignition switches. We need ignition switches.
We need ignition switches. We need starters for our car. We needed tires this week. We got them.
I think one of the, I'm not sure it's a visible display, but I think one of the characteristics of moving into that next is taking responsibility for where your life is in the moment and
Okay.
how it got there.
Right. So taking greater responsibility for where you are in the moment and how you got there, without criticism, without beating ourselves up in any way. Autumn?
I think it's also monitoring your thoughts and your words.
Monitoring your thoughts and your
And
words.
thinking a little bit towards them.
Yeah. Thank you. Lucinda?
Well, it also comes down to thinking about, what am I using this as a, what am I using this as a blanket for?
Mhm.
If I'm spending all my time with this, what am I not doing?
Yeah,
What am I trying to hide from?
right. Okay, good.
And also realizing that when a thought does come up that isn't very loving,
Mm-hmm.
that you can make a new choice to
Right.
change it.
Yeah, I can make a new choice which will have I'll have a new experience. It may not immediately change a condition in front of you, but you can immediately change your experience of whatever is going on. Yes?
Yeah, it was kind of weird, back when I was a kid, and, going through therapy, I used to, every other word was a cuss word.
Mhm.
And they recorded me talking that way. And, I listened to myself talk that way. And, just hearing the recording of what I was telling myself, how I was telling myself, I started redoing that tape inside of me. And
Yeah.
so I guess when you have that negativity or that negative thought that comes up, becoming aware of when it hits
Right,
and say, okay, how can I turn this around into a positive thought, and then just keep that thought going every time
Right.
it comes up, so you can just
Yeah.
re-record that tape.
yeah.
Yeah.
That would definitely be part of moving out of the victim and into another place. So, what does it mean that things happen by means of me? The notes that I wrote were, God is not out there doing things, right? My life is unfolding according to the choices I make, according to my habits, my patterns of behavior. If I want something to change, I need to make changes, and I'm responsible for my life. Outward signs might be that I'm more confident at this level. I have a little less need for control, moving away from the need to have complete control. I'm willing to consider other ideas that are shared with me. I spend a little more time in self-reflection. There's less blaming, less need to be right under all conditions. And there is a danger at this stage of self-blame. So suddenly we're told you're completely responsible for your life.
Yeah.
And then we can turn it on ourselves and go, oh my God, I'm so bad, I'm so horrible, look at the mess I've made, oh, blah, 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 blah. You know? And
You might as well hire Eat the Covers
so be careful if you find yourself, and we do all move in and out of all these phases at times. Be careful if you hear yourself doing that, because you can get stuck in that place, and it's not a healthy or a fun place to be stuck.
One of the most powerful questions when I was moving from victim consciousness out was whether you're sick or whether you're broke or whatever the problem is what's the payoff for what you're doing right now? What's
Right.
the payoff for being sick all the time, for being broke all the time?
Right.
Because there's a psychological payoff
Right.
that's triggered and keeping you in that loop.
And it's normally it's in your unconscious. It's
Oh, yeah.
not in your conscious mind. So yeah, starting to look for that. That is a really good question. You know, what's the payoff for this negative thing I'm experiencing, or this direction that I don't want my life to go? So it's at this level that we start to be introduced to the idea of the qualities of spirit existing within us. What are we talking about, qualities of spirit? What is that?
Peace.
Peace.
Love.
Love.
Joy.
Joy.
Empathy for others.
Empathy.
And yourself.
Compassion.
Compassion.
Awareness.
Awareness. Beauty. Freedom.
Intuitive.
Intuition, maybe. Yeah, so these positive qualities, integrity, harmony, justice, we all contain the capacities within ourselves for these things. And we start at this as we're growing to recognize that, we do have that capacity. We don't always express it. We acknowledge that these qualities are inherent as all of creation. We begin to look for signs that they exist in us. We want to know that they're there in us too, and in others in our lives. Somebody that you might have a very negative feeling for or opinion of, you might actually start to look for some of these qualities in others. And you're learning more about the creative process, the power of spiritual principles or law. Let's skip all that. Skimming. So next we might shift into a place where we're understanding the law of attraction at a deeper level. We might ask a question like, if spirit is infinite and offers infinite possibilities, why am I experiencing limitation? So you might entertain those kinds of questions as you're growing. How would we answer that question?
That's what we were taught.
Okay, maybe that's what we were taught.
I don't deserve anything better.
There might be an I don't deserve anything better in there.
How can I be God, really say that I'm God, without saying, well, I'm not worthy to even think that?
Right. So what you're all saying, I think, is that our own mindset determines how much good can come to us, right? How much we are willing or able to receive of the goodness that is forever available. Chris?
The metaphor I've always used is somehow, subconsciously, we're standing on the hose and the water can't get through it.
Right.
So we're
Yeah.
blocking our own good.
Blocking our own good, standing on the hose. Lucinda and Kimberly.
That's the time when you start thinking about what are those beliefs that I have that I'm not aware of that are starting to
Yeah.
get in my way.
Yeah, so you might start doing some emotional intelligence work.
Mm-hmm.
You might start doing some poking into the unconscious places, into the shadow work, to grow you forward. Because a lot of this stuff it's unconscious. It's not, you know, you can't just say, I'm gonna sit down and figure this out if it's something that's buried. So often it takes some other experience, whether it be counseling or classes or interaction with some other person to help you reflect and pull the stuff up.
I think it was Louise Hay in one of my earlier books I read. It says you can go to the universe like going to the ocean, and you can have much of that ocean as you want, and you take a teaspoon
Right.
instead of, you know, a big huge bucket.
Right, or instead of just jumping in.
Right.
Yeah, I've heard it as a waterfall. You know, are you gonna take a thimble to the waterfall? Are you gonna take a barrel to the waterfall? Or are you gonna just stand under the waterfall?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit. So at this stage, we start to take responsibility for intentions, motivations, expectations, and faith. And we begin the process of deep change. Because deep change is permanent change, right? Not so much deep change of outer conditions, but of our inner being, who we are on the inside. So now we're going to shift away from it's happening by means of me to it's happening through me. Happening through me. What are some outward signs that you might have shifted into it's happening by means of me into it's happening through me? What?
Tears.
Tears.
Lots of tears.
Okay. We
They can
often
fall
have-
on either side of sorrow or joy.
Right. Nice. Marsh.
Music has brought that to me.
Okay.
To the point where I consciously, whether it's before I perform, but especially before I write,
Uh-huh.
I just say, I'm a conduit, let's do this.
Okay.
That I'm,
Right.
it's me and my higher self and the source working together on this tune.
Yeah.
I genuinely feel that way.
Nice. Kimberly.
Used to be that I was always so sad that I ended up getting whatever they call it. They say it's not a nice name, you know. Try not to say, you know, B-face.
Oh, oh, that.
And
Okay.
I mean, my daughter-in-law said, you know, I love you, Mom, but you have that. And she told me that, and I looked and remember, oh my gosh, I do. And my outside version of me now is I smile all the time.
Uh-huh.
And it feels good. I hope I've changed that with my face, but.
Autumn.
I would say when you are trying to help others heal, others self-heal, you know, you're a conduit.
Yeah, yeah. When you're serving in that capacity, you're a conduit for other people's healing sometimes. So what all of this seems to be pointing to is embodied practice, right? So we've taken it from just the level of self-reflection and thoughts, words, and actions, and having to think a lot about how we're behaving, how we're thinking, watching ourselves. Now we're moving into some embodiment where we're just being that. We're just allowing that to move through us. And we don't have to think about it so much. It's becoming automatic.
Yeah, I like to look at the kids, their experience and where they are and how they believe. Before us adults tell ourselves it's foolish to believe, or
Right.
the things that would block us from manifesting things in our life. And it was kind of a funny situation, but I've really been thinking about it. This morning, Mylene kind of left. Me and the daughter were still sleeping. I have to take Bailey down. I got up and I took her out. I come back up and Ilana's laying in the bed with one single tear rolling down her face.
Aww.
Okay? She said, I woke up and I was all alone. It had been like 5 minutes. Right? I woke up and I was all alone with just Mr. Blue, Ready the bird. And she goes, and I thought, everybody left me here. And she goes, but then I closed my eyes and I said, they're coming back. They're coming back. And I laid down and I waited because you were coming back. And you did. She goes, and you did. So my magic works. And I thought about the whole entire arc that she went through in
Right.
5 minutes, you know,
Yeah.
on baby girl time, and how she was like, oh no, I'm all alone in the world. No, I'm not. I'll make them come back. Okay, now I'm gonna wait for it to happen. Now it happened because I made it happen.
Right.
And now she believes, like, I can just call anybody, anything to me if I need it. And
Yeah.
it was so cute, but she was so sad for me.
Oh.
But there's just a little arc that she went through, and the belief that she had in herself to just say, and then I laid still. She didn't get out of bed. She didn't look
Yeah.
for anyone. She didn't go out the front door.
Right.
Just to lay there and say, and now it will come to me.
Yeah.
I was like,
That
man,
is so
I wish we
precious.
could go through that arc more quickly in 5 minutes like that ourselves sometimes.
Yeah. Well, practice, man. Practice.
Yes.
And they got good parents.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm like, and I was afraid she was gonna do that. But 1 minute I left.
Uh-huh.
I was like, what can
Yeah. So it's at this point in time too that we're, you know, the conduit stage, that we move into a little more beginner's mind than we used to have. We used to think we had all the answers.
Mm.
And suddenly we start to realize we don't really know anything.
I know nothing.
We know nothing for sure, right, Chris?
I was just gonna say, at this stage, there's a lot more peace and a lot less drama.
Yeah, a lot more peace, poise, equanimity, a lot less drama in our experiences and in our relationships. We're much less attached to outcomes than we used to be.
I just want to say, being good in your listening.
Okay, we become better listeners, for sure. Yeah. We let go of the illusion of control to some degree, again, and realize we never really had complete control of everything anyway.
Or anybody else.
Or especially anybody else, yeah. So then, finally, what this gentleman talks about is shifting into, I'm not just a conduit, but I am spirit and form. It's like, it's happening as me, as every part of me, every part of my life, as everything that I am, every gift I've been given. And whether you're looking at science of mind and spirit, or whether you're looking at any other tradition, when you get to that level of full embodiment, or not that you live there forever, most people don't, but you move in and out of it. You move in and out of it. And when you're in that space, you know that you are connected with everything. And every path has a mystical level, whether you're talking Buddhism or Hinduism or shamanism or Confucianism. Every path has mystics. And it's at that mystical level where they all are really doing the same thing, right? They're all just being spirit in action. So it's important, again, I'm just going to say one more time, to remember that each of us moves from one stage to the other every day, all the time. It's not like there may be great masters who land and that's where they stay forever, never missing a beat, but I don't really believe that happens too often.
Thank you for that one.
We go through the spectrum every day. We may function at different levels in varying circumstances or areas of our life, depending even on how much sleep we got or what we ate and whether it agreed with us or not. It's a fluid process, these stages of spiritual evolution. It's not a dogma, it's not a set path. It's the dance of spirit in form by means of its creation, and we're part of that creation. So are there other comments that want to be made as we're wrapping up today?
Well, one of the things that I wanted to say is that we not only move in and out of this, but we also can experience it at deeper and deeper and deeper
Right.
levels.
Yeah.
The second step of affirmative prayer.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is God is. The second one is I am that. But when you're first starting, you don't really know what that means.
Right.
You're saying it, but and you might surface level believe it, But it's not until it gets down to a gut level, I am that,
Right.
that it really, really, really sinks in and you can feel it.
Yeah. The good news is the more you practice, the easier it is to move, to shift out of. You can consciously see a victim in yourself just by a thought going through, and you can recognize it and go, oh wow, let's shift right out of that. You know, that's just not true. But it takes practice. Mark?
Exactly. I mean, because intellectually, you know, I could get an A on a paper on spirituality.
Right.
I know all the stuff. But am I living it? You know, I'm trying, but it, you know, understanding it at an intellectual level and really living it.
Right.
That's the trick. That's the that's the journey.
It's a journey of embodiment, and one of the ways people make that journey, and here we're heavy on an education model because that's just my bent. I'm a teacher by nature, but I can say that the people that I watch move through group studies together where they really deeply connect and have the support of both the material they're studying and the other human beings, the reflections back and forth for each other, that's some of the deepest, fastest growth that I see in people, is people who jump in and commit to those kinds of experiences. So if you ever want to get real serious about, you know, that's one way to try. I'm not saying it works for everybody or it's necessary for everybody, but it is one thing to try if you are wanting to see some shift in yourself. Kimberly?
The other night I was at a dance, I told you this, and I was at a dance and my friend had hurt his elbow and I was working on it and this lady just took right over and started doing it and I went, excuse me, I think I'm doing pretty good. And then all of a sudden I realized, oh, and I turn around and go, oh, please forgive me for that. I mean, instantly I asked for forgiveness because my ego got, wow, I'm doing this and that's my friend, that jealousy, and I caught it right in the instant I did it, and I apologized.
Awesome. That's cool.
And I would have never done that before.
See, the growth. All right, nice. Any other comments that want to be shared before we close in prayer and go to our awesome lunch? All right. Great conversation. My prayer, and what I believe with all my heart, mind, body, and soul, is that we are at the beginnings of some great big transformations, individually and collectively. Mother Earth and Great Spirit are on the move, showing us the error of our ways, pointing us toward a new way of life on Earth. And I am so grateful that as a perfect and intentional expression of divinity, we have the capacity, the courage, and the willingness to make inspired choices. Each of us in our own unique ways do what is ours to do for the good of all, for the good of our world and our future. I know that we are agents of positive change. We're here at this time and in this place for a reason. We give thanks for the privilege of being alive, right here, right now. So grateful that I can count on a loving and lawful presence. Grateful to have a safe space to express myself and a spiritual family to support my journey. Thank you, Holy One, for the many blessings and miracles of this and every day. Thank you for these amazing humans that share this life with me. So grateful for the abundance of spirit and how it shows up every day. For the countless hands it took to bring the feast to the table today. For the nourishment our time together offers our bodies and our souls. So immersed in this atmosphere of grace, I release my prayer now, trusting in the loving and lawful presence of Spirit to make it so. May I have eyes to see everything that comes from this moment forward as answered prayer. I let it go fully and completely, calling it absolutely and totally done. And so it is.
So it is.
Amen. Well, thank you so much for engaging in what's a more academic than normal conversation.
That was wonderful.
I don't know. That's just where it went this week. So thank you for joining me here today. And as we wrap up, we're going to bring this part of the morning to the close and offer an opportunity for you to share of your financial good with the community in support of the work that we're doing. And as we engage in the sacred practice of circulation, we're going to share a video by Eddie Watkins Jr. to remind us that we are each the place where God shows up.
Am I strong enough to bear the burdens that sometimes come living this thing called life? Am I wise enough to make the right decisions when I'm standing at the fork in the road? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone, and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. Will I have enough to do the things I need to do to take care of myself? Will I have the health of mind and body to live a life of grace and wholeness? Sometimes I wonder and ponder, only to realize I'm not alone, and there's nothing I have to do on my own, because I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place. I am the place where God lives. You are the place. Moves and breathes and has we are the place. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place. I am the place where God you are the place. We are the place. I am the place where God shows up. I want you to clap your hands and sing it with me. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up.
Eddie Watkins, Husk, can I have some more of that? Can we have some more of that? A little more? A little more.
I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. I am the place where God shows up. I am the place where God lives, moves and breathes and has its being. being. I am the place where God shows up.
Eddie Watkins. Good job, brother. Outstanding. Eddie Watkins Jr.
How cool to get an encore from your pastor. Reverend Roger is actually a musician himself, so.
Wow.
So we give thanks for the music, the inspiration, the conscious conversation, all the ideas shared. We give thanks for all the gifts shared, monetary gifts, the gift of prayer, the gift of love. We just feel so supported by this congregation, and we just say thank you to each one. Thank you to Spirit for blessing us all. We accept these blessings with a grateful heart, and so it is.
And so it is. So be it.
All together, hand in hand, say the light, we take a stand, and we are changing a whole new life for you and me. Take your past and set it free, and share this blessing. Love be with you, peace enfold you, Spirit lift you, breathe it in, truth come through you, make good flow to you. Let joy renew you until we meet again. Love be with you. Ooh, 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 love be with you until